Struve Geodetic Arc. The most advanced ideas in science today have led us far in our knowledge of the Earth and the universe. One of the most unique works of science is the Struve Geodetic Arc, developed in the mid-19th century. Friedrich Georg Wilhelm von Struve, an astronomer and professor at the University of Tartu, together with a group of collaborators, set out to measure the exact shape and size of the planet Earth. They used the principles of geodesy and mathematics to do so. They built benchmarks, observation towers, and marked points. The measurements were taken on a stretch of the planet from northern Norway to the Black Sea. Struve managed to measure distances with precision and determine the shape and size of the Earth. In 2005, the Struve Geodetic Arc was declared as a UNESCO Heritage Site. The Struve Geodetic Arc was a magnificent project implemented in the mid-19th century when a huge chain of 2,822 kilometers was built and installed between the south of Ukraine as far as the Black Sea and the north of Norway, all the way to the Norwegian Sea. The chain consisted of 259 triangles. And what was the aim of this chain? The chain had the grand purpose to determine the size and shape of the Earth. The points of reference were posts set up at the highest elevations of the terrain. Why at the highest points? Because it was necessary to see from the top of a hill the next one. It was easy to see another tower 30 to 40, in the northern part up to 50 kilometers away. So towers were built in a way that the surveyor could rise above the horizon and measure the angles between one side and the other. And knowing the length and angles of one side of the triangle, the tilt of the Earth in this long chain could be calculated from the obtained data. It was the 19th century, a rather turbulent time. And here was a group of scientists, a bunch of enthusiasts stepping forward with the noble idea of measuring the Earth and beginning this grandiose work. And curiously enough, this work began in Lithuania. We have a geodetic arc named after Struve, but what most people have forgotten is that the work started under the initiative of another distinguished specialist. Karol Tenner, an officer in the Tsar's army, who at that time was carrying out the work of triangulation of Lithuania and Vilnius province, that is to say, establishing longitude and latitude data for the purpose of mapping, road marking, land reform, and land cadastral data. Considering the possibilities of the time, scientists are now amazed at the high level of precision achieved in the geodetic arc, when measurements were made across the marshes and clones and lakes of the country. The errors made were as little as 3 millimeters per kilometer. The Meškonys point, where we are now, is unique in the sense that it is one of the higher locations in the horizon and offers a beautiful panorama. But for surveyors, it is important because it is the most precise zero-class point, which was also used for adjustment purposes at the time of Struve. Ir tai buvo istorinis ir Struvės matavimo metu naudojamas punktas. After the completion of the arc, scientific knowledge continued to spread. The assistants who took part in the geodetic surveys pursued their interest in astronomy and geodesy, carried out scientific research, lectured at local science institutions, and educated the younger generation. The Estonian-born Karol Tenner, who was born in Virumaa County, was an officer in the Tsar's army and a unique personality. Unlike his education in military sciences, he was self-taught in astronomy. He did not graduate from any renowned universities of the time, but thanks to his extraordinary talent and perfectionism, he achieved incredible results. Tenner completed 2/3 of the surveys of the Struve Geodetic Arc. Each country through which the points of the Struve Geodetic Arc extend has issued commemorative coins, medals, souvenirs, everyday household items with the Arc's symbolism. It encourages interest in this UNESCO-protected heritage. And through games and puzzles, including with family members, we recreate the marked step-by-step geodesic arc. We can also familiarize ourselves with the geography of the entire region. Thanks to this project, there is a trail to the renovated Struve Geodetic Point near Aukštaitija. In the Aukštaitija district, next to the popular Treetop Trail, the Puntukas Stone, and the Beacon of Happiness, a monument to the writer Jonas Biliūnas, tourists are invited to a renovated object, Struve Geodetic Point. The main objective of the project is to introduce the Struve Geodetic Arc to the visitors and to make another object available for visiting in Aukštaitija Regional Park. The project thus offers a real opportunity to introduce this site of great cultural value to the public, park visitors, and guests. There are information boards for visitors to learn about the place, and a kilometer-long visitor trail to the top of the hill. Visitors will be able to admire the nature, the views, and read all the information about the way surveys were carried out. They will even be able to try to take measurements themselves and learn about the units used by Struve and by tenor and how angles were measured. While on the trail, visitors can see a map of Lithuania indicating all the points of the Struve Geodetic Arc. Following the route of the arc, they will be able to measure distances to different Lithuanian cities and the sea and learn about the nature of the surveys and the way people worked in the 19th century in order to measure the globe. The Struve Geodetic Arc Point, which has been adapted for visiting, is also linked to other points that run across 10 countries. An international tourist route is to be developed to bring more tourists to Lithuania. I believe the project, which is being implemented together with our partners in Latvia, will have a great educational effect. Visitors will have a chance to refresh their geometrical and geographical knowledge. They will also learn how the neighboring countries showcase this object of cultural heritage, which plays a significant role in the history of humanity. On the way from Aukštaitija to Rokiškis, we come across the geodetic point of Gireische. It is an object visible to visitors from afar and a perfect place to take a break. It is equipped with a sheltered viewing platform, playground, and car park. Visitors can enjoy scenic views from the hilltop and learn about the geodetic arc in the eye-catching and beautiful information boards. Next, our route leads to Latvia, where tourists are invited by 2 geodetic points that have been restored and adapted for visiting. We are in Jēkabpils at the Park of Struve. We are proud to have one of the points of the Struve Geodetic Arc located in our city. At the time of the surveys, there was just a meadow where locals used to herd goats and chicken. The uninhabited field was discovered by Struve, who built a tower and brought in his measuring tools. The surveying took about a week and a half. When the work was finished, the place was fenced off and the key handed over to what we would now call the city council. Later, the place saw the establishment of a park, pavilions, restaurants, and hosted performances and exhibitions. During World War I, the park was severely damaged. Trenches were dug in the area, and the geodetic point could have been destroyed too. Fortunately, it survived, and in 1931 a teacher at a local school decided the point had to be specially marked. He therefore donated the largest stone from his collection to commemorate the surveying efforts carried out here. After visiting the city of Jēkabpils, which has preserved its historical architecture, after admiring the renovated Struve Park, we turn to the city fortress, Kruspils, which dates its history back to 1237, from the time of the swordsman. Now there is a museum of local history in the castle. There is also a detailed exposition devoted to the Struve Geodetic Arc. And a dozen kilometers away, another Latvian geodetic point invites us. This is Daburkans, located on Taburkans. The observation tower built here with a view of the bends of the Daugava River will delight everyone. We find ourselves in Taburkans, the region of Sēlija in Latvia, where another point of the Struve Geodetic Arc has been preserved and an observation tower has been built. In 2021, Sala municipality implemented the European Regional Development Project Struve in collaboration with the municipality of Jēkabpils and Aukštaitija Regional Park Directorate. The implementation of this project allowed us to preserve the Struve Geodetic Arc point for future generations. The metal observation tower in Taburkans offers visitors a chance to enjoy the views to the Daugava River basin, landscape, and surrounding hills at the altitude of 28 meters. The ceiling of the observation tower displays references to the nearby Struve meridian arc points. At the foot of Taburkans, there is a footpath. A wheelchair-accessible toilet is located by the access road together with 5 benches and trash bins for the comfort of tourists. Improved facilities of the Struve Geodetic Arc are a recent contribution to the development of tourism in Latvia. The accessible and interesting Latvian cultural heritage site is a worthy addition to international tourism routes. Next, we travel to Estonia, to the University of Tartu, where Struve spent the most creative years of his life, where he studied and did his research. Today, the old Tartu Observatory houses a museum of astronomy. Throughout many years, Struve was the observatory's director, carried out research work, and studied constellations. The observatory saw the development of the geodetic arc idea. One of the key exhibits at the museum lies in the foyer floor, the geodetic arc point which started the surveying arc of almost 3,000 kilometers in length. The first thing to discuss is Struve's arrival to Tartu. He was born in Altona, the territory wedged between Germany and Denmark, which Struve fled during the Napoleonic Wars. He was 16 years old when he entered the University of Tartu. Why Tartu? His brother was a teacher in Tartu, so Struve moved there too. Struve wasn't a very good student at first. After losing the grant, he still was determined to graduate, so he studied on his own. At the end, he succeeded and graduated with a degree in classical philology, which had nothing to do with mathematics, physics, or astronomy. Later, he was lucky to receive a scholarship to study astronomy, the field that interested him the most. Although at the time astronomers could barely make a living, and his father insisted on him studying something that he could turn into a job. But Struve was in luck. He got a job at the Tartu Observatory and started working as a scientist. Except, of course, He wasn't as famous as he is now. His first task was the Livonian triangulation, which started in 1816. This was the beginning of Struve's surveying ideas. Struve also had an extraordinary personal life. He was father to 18 children. With the first wife, he had 12. 4 of them died when they were children, and 8 came of age. He had 6 more children with his second wife when they lived in Pulkovo. Struve started a long dynasty of astronomers. One of his sons became the director of the Pulkovo Observatory. Another one ran the observatory of Kharkov. One of his grandchildren was in charge of a few observatories in the States, where he fled during World War I. Indeed, Struve's was a vast dynasty, among which there were not only astronomers but also philosophers, geographers, etc. Each and every point of the Struve Geodetic Arc is unique. Take Voivere in the north of Estonia, for example. A beautifully restored windmill greets visitors from afar. Inside there is a museum with hundreds of rare photographs and exhibits telling the story of the Struve Geodetic Arc. Inside the miller's courtyard there is a glass enclosure storing an authentic survey post. This geodetic point was considered destroyed, but in 2001 it was found during geodetic measurements. The more of the arc we see, the more we learn about the uniqueness of each station, the horizons of planet Earth, constellations, and the universe. The Struve Geodetic Arc, created more than 100 years ago, convinces us that scientists and government representatives from different countries can successfully cooperate for the benefit of science and humanity. This video has been prepared as part of the project Creation of International Tourist Route, the Struve Geodetic Arc, which is funded by the European Union under the Interreg V-A Latvia Lithuania Programme 2014-2020.